Welcome back. The big story we're tracking this evening. Tata Consultancy Services has said it will fire 2% of its total workforce, equating to roughly 12,000 employees over the course of the current financial year. This is Indian IT's biggest layoff exercise to date. The company had laid off more than 3,000 employees, equating to 1% of its total employee count. In FY15, shares of the firm tanked in trade in response to this development. The employee strength of IT majors have also remained largely stagnant in every fiscal since FY23. In fact, TCS and Wipro have seen a reduction in headcount while employee strength has improved. For Infosys, this as companies reduced hiring after stocking up on talent during COVID-19. Furthermore, growth has largely moderated after a pandemic-fueled surge, with constant currency revenue growth even falling quarter on quarter in the case of TCS and Wipro in the first quarter of this fiscal. We're now joined by R Chandrashekhar, former president of NASSCOM, and Mohandas, former head of human resources at Infosys, also currently the chairman of Aarin Capital. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. Mohandas, what do you think is fueling these layoffs now at TCS? And do you think it's going to have larger implications? This is a sign of things to come for the IT industry in India.
Look, I think the media is making too much of this thing. Please understand, whenever growth slows down, there's a concentration of people in the middle and the higher levels because the pyramid, in fact, goes away. We're not hiring enough people at the bottom. People in the middle get promoted. They go up the ladder. And when the pyramid gets flatter and not at a particular angle, you have too many people in the middle, and you have to downsize or right size. And that's what is happening. It's happening earlier too. Please remember that. It's happening earlier too. And the CEO of TCS has said it's got nothing to do with AI and other things. It's got to do with the fact that they got too many people at the middle and senior level, and they do not see them being useful because people at the bottom too are coming up to those positions, and those people are stagnated, are possibly not in a billing role, are possibly becoming managers who are pushing paper, and they have to right size. This is going to happen every time the growth slows down, and this is a normal event. Please remember, TCS has attrition of 12 to 13%. A 12 to 13% attrition on 66 lakh people is about 72, 75,000 people. When 75,000 people leave every year, and they hide to make it up to retain the numbers, and they say an additional 12,000 has to go, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it is a very small number. There's just right sizing.
Right.
I don't think you should read too much into it. It happens whenever growth slows down, and it's happened now.
Okay, Mr. Pai, one more question. If we look at global trends, almost 80,000 tech sector employees around the world have lost jobs across 169 companies in 2025. In 2024, 150,000 job losses took place across 551 tech firms. What's happening in India and what's happened to TCS? Do you feel it's in line with global trends? And number two, is it only because of overhiring, global uncertainties, low growth, AI, automation, or all of the above?
Look, there are 6 million people working in software in America. 6 million. How many are let go? 50,000, 60,000 is 1%. 1% is a small number. And they've probably gone to other enterprises, and most of them have got jobs. I don't think we should read too much into it because you don't look at the denominator. You're only looking at the numerator, not the denominator. In India, again, 6 million people are employed in the software service export industry. 7.5 million people are employed in the entire software industry with startups and the local industry too. And in that, even if you have 30, 40, 50,000 people being let go, some companies, others will pick them up. Maybe 10, 15,000 will have to retire. So I don't think it's a very big deal because these are normal things. You've not seen it happen. You've seen it happen earlier, once when the things slowed down too much for a number of years. You're seeing it now. And I think it's a very normal feature to right-size the pyramid, to right-size people who probably are not contributing. And I think it's okay.
Right. Now, let me go back to Mr. Chandrashekhar. Mr. Chandrashekhar, are we to say this is only because these employees or employees who are being laid off in the IT sector all across, is this because the employees are misaligned, there is a mismatch of skills, or has there been overhiring over the years? What is your view?
Parishit, different segments of the IT industry are actually growing differently at this particular point. The IT services and BPM segment has had some changes. It has been buffeted by some of the changes, including the advancements in technology. The GCC segment is still growing quite rapidly, and the startup segment in India is also showing growth. If you look from an overall industry perspective, therefore, you have to look at an aggregate of all of these things. But if you look at the IT services and the BPM segment, then as the name implies, they are not entirely the makers of their own destiny. A lot of it depends on what is happening in the businesses that they serve, the businesses across the world who are their clients. The advent of AI, no doubt, has been a big factor. And almost every sector of the global economy and society is getting impacted by that. Although the immediate cause for the TCS action is not the advent of AI, and I think Mr. Mohandas has explained that aspect quite elaborately. But the fact is that despite all the hype about AI, businesses, and I'm talking now about client businesses, not the IT itself, businesses have been taking their time to actually figure out how to absorb AI, how to assimilate AI, how to adapt to the post-AI world, and do all of the things that are possible with AI. There's also the question of the level of reliability which AI has reached when you come to things like enterprise AI, or even to have whole processes, critical processes run by AI. But while that is the case, and those are the areas which will translate into business opportunities for the Indian industry, and over time, those will be very big opportunities, I do believe. But in the short run, what they believe is that the IT industry is employing AI, or should be employing AI, and should be able to deliver a lot more with less. And that is translating into cost pressures on the companies to deliver more with less, to lower the costs. And companies, obviously, if they want to remain competitive, have to adapt. And the adaptation is being done in small doses. And I think that calibration arithmetic has been very well explained by Mr. Mohandas. So I think that is what we are actually seeing, how the industry is dealing with this aspect. One other point which I want to make is that the new kind of jobs which will be created over a medium term, when the businesses, the client businesses, start adapting and adopting AI more aggressively, will require very different skill sets. Pure vanilla tech skills are not going to cut it. And therefore, there is this question of what are the kind of skills that are going to be needed. And it's going to be a much more diverse set of skills, as well as a deeper...
Chandrashekhar?
Yes.
Mr. Chandrashekhar, that brings me to my next question. People who are losing their jobs right now, how should they upgrade, upskill themselves for the future?
Yes, I think that's a very good question. That is really the question which both employers and employees should be asking, and the country as a whole needs to address. And I do believe that a lot of this will require, as I said, diverse skills, because when you talk about AI being adopted by the client businesses, it's not just about technology adoption. Nobody is going to say, let me adopt AI so that, I can shout from the rooftops that I use AI. They are looking at how it impacts their business. What is the connection with the amount of money you spend on bringing in AI, and a perceived or a notional reduction in the kind of direct control that they have. So when you look at those return on investment numbers, it is still not that easy to predict or put a precise number on that return on investment. So I think the question is, people who are involved in helping their client businesses to adopt AI will have to develop the diverse skills required to explain and help them to figure out, to become a true tech partner, in the sense to help them to figure out how it's going to relate to their business, how it's going to make the business more efficient, and how it's going to translate at the end of the day into greater profitability and ROI for the company.
Right. Mr. Pai, coming to you, what is the larger question? You've said that what's happened in TCS is normal for a company to do restructuring, do some right sizing in the context of the economic environment, in terms of the financials. But what is going to be the question for both employers and employees in the days to come?
Well, let me first make a big statement. Look, Indian IT was a sample in a large universe for many years. Now they are the universe. They're the biggest players in the world in IT software services with $235 billion of exports. They got about 6 million people. It's a very, very large industry. So they will grow at best, or maybe if they beat the global growth, they'll be very high. If globally the market is growing 3-4%, if they grow 4-5%, that's fantastic, right? Please remember, when they grow offshore, revenues are offshore per person are 40% the revenue on site. When more work moves offshore, the revenue does not grow the same pace because the earning is not one-to-one between on-site to offshore. Many people miss that. Now, the key thing to see is how quickly will global enterprises imbibe AI? Because AI usage by global enterprises is not like you and I using AI. You and I can use Grok or whatever it is we use to ask questions, say, hey, we are all AI. Global enterprises have to look at how to use AI. They have to test it out. They have to make sure everything works. And they need people. And where are the people who are trained in AI is in India. Where are the data scientists for them? They are in India. They have the offshore companies. They're not in America. I looked at a recent job posting in America. There are almost no job posting for software people. They're all for AI people. I mean, the same people who now call themselves AI can possibly apply because the nomenclature changed for many of them with a little bit of training. So the number has gone there. And look at the GCCs. GCCs are growing hugely. Why are they growing? Because the global enterprise have found that what they were doing in their home country of America, Europe, can be done better in India. They have more flexibility. So when after COVID, they shifted a lot of work offshore. They still have it under their control as against people to whom they outsource, like the big IT service companies from India. So these are tectonic shift that's happened because GCCs are hiring. That means the growth rate overall for spending has come down because of confusion about the use of AI, because of the tariffs confusion and high interest rates in America. So global growth has to stabilize. And once the stabilized people will start using AI more, and when that happens, the offshore players and Indian IT will be the major beneficiaries because they are the ones who can work for the global enterprises to put AI into them. So I think right now we are in between two tectonic shifts. And also you must remember, using AI tools will increase productivity by 15 to 30%. So the last 2 years, productivity has gone up, quantum of work done has gone up because a lot of the people, Indian IT have been trained. They're not there in revenues, but the money that is released by projects being completed quickly will go back and for more projects and more work as and when the market starts improving. So we have to wait and see.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Pai and Mr. Chandrashekhar, for joining us with that very important perspective on the layoffs in the IT sector in the backdrop of what's happened at TCS. Let's see how things pan out in the weeks and months to come. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. More news and updates continue right here.